All right. Welcome everyone to the Newcastle United transfer roundup show, transfer news show. Obviously, just recapping on the week's transfer business, which there was a lot. But we're going to be talking about the main ones today. Obviously, before we start, please do hit the subscribe button if you are new. It will allow you to join the live chat whenever I do live watch alongs or just these sort of live streams. Or as well, also you can hit the like button as well. It really does help the channel out very, very much. And also ring the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my most of the time it's been streams or YouTube shorts. Obviously, you can tell maybe by how like my voice is right now. My voice isn't doing that well, to be honest. Talking about 3 hours of a stream earlier today, because I was mostly talking about the Philippines national team and the Women's World Cup. Look, I'll talk more about that when the next stream happens on Tuesday, when the Philippines play New Zealand. But for now, we'll be talking about Newcastle United transfer news, and obviously the big one is Harvey Barnes has signed. Well, it hasn't been announced, but I'm like how Fabrizio Romano would say, here we go. Harvey Barnes to Newcastle United is a here we go. But yeah, Harvey Barnes to Newcastle United has been, how I feel about it, confirmed based on the media reports and all that sort of stuff. So yes, Harvey Barnes, potential agreement deal of around 38, let's just say 38 million pounds. Not sure about the contract length. It will probably be about 5 years or something like that. Obviously, I have my own personal opinion on the on Harvey Barnes signing for Newcastle. But look, because he's practically now a Newcastle United player, I'll back him. I hope he proves me wrong. Based on my sort of opinions, you probably can tell on Twitter or some of the YouTube shorts I make of Harvey Barnes in terms of this transfer saga. But yeah, I hope he proves me wrong. And people say, oh, I hope he makes you, meaning me. I hope Harvey Barnes makes you silly and look like an idiot. Well, it doesn't matter because we're both going to be winners in the end, because at the end of the day, we want Newcastle United to be successful. So if Harvey Barnes is proving me wrong, I don't mind, to be honest. I hope he becomes the most solid that everyone's claiming about, 13 goals. So you know what? I'll set the bare minimum benchmark 10 goals next season in the Prem for Harvey Barnes. I think that would be good enough for me. But more, please. But yes, Harvey Barnes is a Newcastle United player. How do I feel about it? Overall, as I said, I don't really rate him as a signing, especially when another player is going out the door to Saudi Arabia, and that player is Allan Saint-Maximin. He is going to leave Newcastle United. I am right now 90% sure that he will leave Newcastle United, which, for me is, look, I don't call him a legend at Newcastle United. Like, that's only reserved for players that have won trophies with us. So an example would be like Jackie Milburn, or they have some sort of huge achievement at the football club, like the top scorer at the club, which is Alan Shearer. Like that's how I identify club legends for us, Newcastle United. So practically there hasn't been a club legend probably since Alan Shearer. Maybe Shay Given for most appearance, I believe, or is that Gary Speed? God rest his soul. But yeah, Allan Saint-Maximin, look, he's not a legend, but he is the only spark of a player that when we were under Mike Ashley, obviously when we were fighting relegation a lot more regularly, and now we are, fighting out to win the Premier League title, because, at the end of the day, I want us to win the Premier League title. I don't want us to just, we'll make top four, we'll make top four, we'll make top four, we'll make top four. I don't want us to be the replacement of Tottenham Hotspur, wherein we make the top four but we don't actually progress from getting top four or second, third, fourth, or wherever. It's about making sure that we are able to win trophies. But yeah, Allan Saint-Maximin will leave Newcastle United probably next week. I would say. Well, he's probably leaving the city of Newcastle, but he will probably be signing for the Saudi club Al-Ahli, one of the four clubs owned by, oh, believe it or not, the PIF, who just so happens to own Newcastle United. But there hasn't been much outrage, to be honest, from social media. So, and it's probably because it's not like a 50 million pound move. It's probably, from what I saw, it was like around 25 million pounds plus add-ons, and those add-ons are probably achievable. I'm not sure if Al-Ahli are in the Champions League in Asia. I'll probably have to check. But yeah, look, for Saint Maximum, I hope he does well. I hope he succeeds in Saudi Arabia, and I hope he'll do well by the end of it. But yeah, Sam Maximum is going to leave Newcastle United, and obviously this one has popped up just in the last sort of 24 hours, and this one I really want to talk about, and that is the left back ish situation, which is Tino Livramento or Lewis Hall from Chelsea. Yep, a couple of smaller Newcastle in the nose or short sources saying that Newcastle United are potentially interested in Lewis Hall. This kind of came out in the last 24 hours, so I haven't really caught on to much of the story. And it seems like Newcastle United are going for one or the other of Livramento or Lewis Hall. So in a way, we're paying Chelsea basically, because Livramento I think has a sell-on clause, and do I think it's guaranteed he will leave? I think Livramento will leave Southampton, um, and also I believe there was a medical booked for Tino Livramento, so I'm not 100% sure if that's accurate. But if we manage to get in Harvey Barnes and Livramento, both players that look a lot of people rate highly. For me, I don't think that much, to be honest. But look, trust the process. Trust the process, trust the club, whatever. Because the only thing I really fear about Livramento as a signing is his recent injury record. Not just recent injury record, but actually coming back from an ACL. And he's been out of football for nearly 12 or so months. He only just recently got back into playing football, I think, in the final two games of last season for Southampton. So, and that's not as a solid. That's more of just like getting minutes, because Southampton were really relegated by that time. But that's the thing I'm kind of fearing with a player like a Livramento, that he has that sort of bad injury. I hope it doesn't stutter his progress. And if he does join, I hope we don't see another terrible injury, because earlier this week it was reported that a Chelsea player, Wesley Fofana, has, I think, ruptured his ACL as well, and probably be out for the rest of the season. Only after getting back into sort of a bit of fitness at Chelsea after a long knee injury. So you gotta be careful with these sort of young players that look, they can still become the best sort of players that they can be, but at the same time I do fear with players like Livramento, or at Chelsea Wesley Fofana, or at Liverpool at Virgil van Dijk, these sort of players that come back from these sort of long-term injuries, knee injuries. um it's going to be tough to see, are they what they were before. Livramento was a very, very hot prospect about a couple years ago, um when he kind of burst onto the scene. I think he was also at loan at Chelsea, and then they signed him about January 2022, so 18 months ago. So I do think that at the time, I'm just unsure about Livramento as a signing, um, as a prospect, as a backup. Yes, as a starter, I am not sure yet. And as I said, it's more down to the injury. But the other player mentioned over here, Lewis Hall for Chelsea, kind of was probably Chelsea's best sort of player last season. But no Chelsea player was great anyway. So that's probably why Lewis Hall looked fantastic with Chelsea. And that's probably because I think um, I'm not really sure if the Wesley Fofana situation affects Lewis Hall. And also, I don't really think Lewis Hall is really a left back. I think he's a left wing back or a midfielder. But he's done well with a very, very poor Chelsea side. But I think the main thing is, will he get game time at Chelsea? Because Chelsea aren't in Europe this upcoming season. So would we be giving Lewis Hall, who does actually have, I think, that Champions League experience, surprise? Um, would we be willing to fork out, something like 25, at most 30 million? Because I don't think either Livermore or Lewis Hall should be worth more than like 30 million max. So 25 or whatever, I think would be all right. But if we pay like 40 million for Livermore or Lewis Hall, yeah, that's in terms of how much we would spend. Nah, not for me. Um, but I really, really do hope that whoever we do bring in at left back, because they have to be a starting left back. I know there's been reports, oh, maybe Trippier can actually play on the left. Well, actually, I have to do this way: play on the left hand side, play as the left back. But I just think Trippier is a lot better as a right back. And that's why I do think, if we want to bring in the left back, it has to be someone that is a starting quality. I think Livramento or Lewis Hall can be like bench options. But I don't see either of them as starters, and that's the thing. I would look. I'm not going to question Eddie Howe or the club on the transfer business and all that, because gotta trust the club, whatever. But we're nearly around 300 more, well, at least 300 million, closing into a 400 million. So that is 2/5 of a billion spent on players. Now, this is where I kind of fear, like, when is it time for Newcastle United fans to be demanding a trophy? For me, what is my sort of benchmark in terms of trophies, and maybe I'll stick with it. I'm giving Eddie Howe this upcoming season and next season. So I'm giving him 2 years basically to kind of build a team that is going to win at least one trophy. If he wins one trophy, a Carabao Cup, FA Cup, whatever, then it'll be seen as obviously success, because that means we've lifted a trophy. Something that, if club legend Sir Bobby Robson didn't manage to do with Newcastle United. So look, I think it is going to be interesting to see who we actually bring in as the left back option. Obviously, last week talked about Federico Di Marco or even Theo Hernandez from AC Milan. Do I think either of those? None of those stories really picked up, but I think I still have that inkling feeling that we are going in for a Serie A player. And speaking of Serie A players, I can actually type his name correctly. Not even looking at Google. I hope I got it right. This is the name. Kavica Kvaratskhelia was reported on Sunday, but news broke out last weekend, actually, Saturday, Sunday, and it caught up speed on Monday, which was Kavica Kvaratskhelia being linked to Newcastle United, and that being that Newcastle United put in a £82 million bid for Kavica, which I think is crazy, But obviously I would take him as 100% at the football club. But it's whether that 82 million pound bid is actually true, which I don't think it was. Nothing really came out of it. Only one source, Core Sport, from my YouTube short that I talked about, was the one that really publicized it, in an Italian report. That Italian report, Core Sport, was the one that broke the Sandro Tonali news to Newcastle United early on. Um, at least from based on like the major reports, um, or reporting stations, basically whatever you want to call them. So yeah, I think Kavicha is the interest from Newcastle United. Yes. Did we actually make a £2 million bid? No. Um, I think I can say that with a little bit of confidence, but look, you just never know with this transfer window. But now that the Newcastle United squad is in America right now, preparing for the USA Premier League Summer Series, and I have to remember who we playing, because I haven't really caught up too much on that. We're playing Aston Villa. We're playing Aston Villa and then Chelsea and then Brighton and Hove Albion. And the Aston Villa game's actually at 7 in the morning on a Monday, this coming Monday for me. I think in the UK it's probably like midnight, probably. So yeah, I think that one is going to be something I'll probably look forward to. That it will be the first sort of live game I get to see Newcastle United. If I wake up that early, who knows? But yeah, I think. And so in terms of transfer news, as I said, Harvey Barnes, I can say 100% is going to be a Newcastle United player. I can also probably say with 100% in a way, Allan Saint-Maximin will leave Newcastle United. So it's kind of like Barnes in, ASM out, basically. And either Tino Livramento from Southampton or Lewis Hall from Chelsea. It looks like we're probably going to get one of the two as a left back, maybe, I don't know, or at least a fullback option. But again, I still think we need someone that is a ready-made starter at left back. In terms of other news like Axel Disasi, nothing much has really come from it, apart from like, Newcastle are pushing for potentially signing him, but nothing has really come out of that since probably Monday or Tuesday. So yeah, I think that's probably pretty much all of the Newcastle United transfer news in under 20 minutes. I managed to do that under 20 minutes of this whole live stream. But yeah, I think that basically wraps it up today. Obviously, if there's any live chat, you can let me know in the live chat as well. Subscribe to obviously, in order to do that, hit the subscribe button on the channel, and ring the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my Newcastle United transfer roundup shows like this every Friday, 3 p.m. UK time or 10 p.m. my local time, or any of my YouTube shorts that come out. Like, I actually had a couple of them earlier today with the Newcastle United third kit, which I think is my favorite of the 3 kits that we have this season. And as well as that, there is the Philippines Switzerland game. You can check that one out as well earlier today. But also give the stream a like. But yeah, it's going to be, as the Premier League season is about to come very, very soon. It's going to be a lot more busy in terms of like transfer activity, because now the season started. Now teams are probably going to be like, okay, who do we need now as we enter the final month of the transfer window of August? But yeah, that is it for the live stream today. It's been a busy day for me, with the live watch long, making 2 YouTube shorts and this. But yeah, finally, Saturday and Sunday, I get to just relax a bit. But yeah, until then, I will see you guys in the next one.